So without much ado, I want to introduce to us Samuel Sukomi Adegboyega, my son, senior technical analyst, consultant, business owner. You know, and I'll tell you one thing, these young men have done well for themselves. You know, and I'm very proud of you, and I know that God will give you grace to deliver and encourage others as well in Jesus' name. Amen.
Am I audible? Good evening, everyone. All right, so I am so glad to be here. And please, I need volume, please. My voice is not that loud. I really don't talk so much, so. All right, can we hear me, please? Okay, I'm very glad to be here, and I really appreciate you, sir, for the opportunity and the platform to be able to share knowledge to the world. So, you can hear me? Okay. Is it good now? All right, thank you very much. Yeah. So, real quick, let's just say a word of prayer. Father, in Jesus' name, in the mighty name of Jesus. Lord, we pray that you help us in this moment. We pray that you open our hearts to learn and then to assimilate all that is going to be spoken this evening in Jesus' name. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for in Jesus' mighty name we pray. So, I would like this session to be as interactive as possible, right? I'll be asking questions, and then I would like us to as well to give responses and all of that. So, are we with me? Am I audible? All right, thank you very much. Yeah. So, first thing I would like to ask is, so when we hear about tech, what comes to our mind? I would like 3 people to just give me answers. When you just say the word tech or IT, what comes to mind? Anybody? All right. Microphone, please. Computer.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Who else, please? I know there are gurus in the house as well. I can see their faces now. Another person. I mean, there are no wrong or right answers. Just when you hear the word tech, what comes to mind, please? Hallelujah, son. Okay. Can we give him a round of applause, please? Please, I'm still expecting my bottle of water. I'm getting dehydrated already. Thank you very much. Okay, another person, one more person, please. Oh, this is looking very cute. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yep. Another person, one last person. Thank you. Can we pass the mic to you, please?
Praise God.
Hallelujah.
My perspective about tech, I don't know so much.
Okay.
Is carrying out our daily task using artificial intelligence. Tasks that used to be done with analog before. Now we can use artificial intelligence to carry out those tasks.
Nice. Thank you very much. So, round of applause to people who answered the question. So, yes, like Daddy said, right, tech doesn't have to do with coding alone. Does anybody believe that? Who believes that here? So, yeah, a large number of people do not believe that. So, I mean, you know, I know that some of us, when we hear about the word tech, we just think coding and then, you know, writing some gibberish and just things that we cannot understand. But I'm here to let you know that tech doesn't have to do only coding, right? It has to do with a whole lot of things. There's a whole lot of things that makes up the tech ecosystem in general. Right, so is my okay, alright, thank you. Okay, but then so tonight, right, this whole slide of everything is just formalities. Me, I like to share my story. You know, how I got into tech, how I started, how my journey was like. It wasn't a smooth journey, but then it's still bumpy right now. It's not all that smooth. So I like to share so that, because I know that some of us will be able to relate, right? I've been at some of us' shoes as well. I've been there where I struggled. Till now, I'm still struggling. Struggle continues. So tech is not that once you are at a certain height, you won't struggle. At every level you get to tech industry, you struggle. So I like to share my story a lot because I was once a novice as well. I didn't know anything. And one thing is very key, which is first thing is passion, right? Because there are several reasons why people get into things. I mean, the reason why we get into tech may be different from yours. I may get into tech because I love tech. You may get into tech because you like money, right? So we are two different people. But then the goal is that we are all in tech, right? And then another thing is that, excuse me. Thank you. I'm not much of a public speaking person, so so that I'm here today is by the great grace of God. all right. Thank you. So there's this saying, right, which is I know some of us will think like tech is hard, right? Who else believes tech is hard? So everybody believes tech is hard. Wow. Right? So okay. I want to tech is hard, but then you get to know if tech is hard or not. Oh, so the thing is, everything is hard. Everything at all is hard. Whether you're in tech or you're in the medical space. So you believe tech is hard, right? Why not try to be a mechanic? You see which one is harder, right? So everything is hard. Whether you want to learn tech or you want to go into the medical space, because me as a person, I will never ever dream of becoming a doctor or a surgeon, because I can imagine me piercing into someone's brain. Or what am I looking for inside there? So to me, that one is very hard. It's extremely hard. But then people are in the field. They wouldn't tell you it is hard because they are in the field. They've grown in the field, right? And then they've known a lot of things. They've assimilated more knowledge, and they wouldn't tell you it is hard because it is what they want to do. And another thing is, okay, checking my time. I mean, when it comes to tech thing, I can talk from today to next year, actually, because it's what I do, it's what I love doing, and then it's part of me already. I mean, tomorrow, I might decide to be a farmer, but then, at least for now, I'm still a tech person. So, tech is not hard, or tech is as well hard. But then the thing is, you have to choose your hard. I believe we've heard that statement before. Everything is hard. You really want to choose your hard. You know what you want to struggle with. You have to choose it, and then you move on with it, right? So, I'll just share my story briefly before we go into the slides. So for me, right, I wouldn't say I'm much of a computer person while growing up, right? Because I mean, literally back then, it's either that there's no money to buy a computer, or I mean, those are for the parents. But then, my journey in tech started from out of curiosity, right? I'm a very curious person. I like to know. I like to ask. I like to, once I don't get something, I just want to know what is going on here, right? And then me growing up as a young person while I was in secondary school. So tonight, some of us that know me, right, I'll be sharing some stories that might shock us, but we may think we know me like that, but then we live some lives in the past, right? So, I love playing video games. Back then it was PlayStation 2 that was really new. I know some of us can relate here. PlayStation 2. I don't trust you. So PlayStation 2 is very common back then, where everybody wants to own one, everybody wants to play game. I mean, young people like me back then, I'm still young, I'm not old. So from, I can tell us that while I was, let me say SS3, right? I can count how many times I went to school. That fees like lesson fee and all those kind of small fee that we lie at home and to game. That's gone down to gambling because I just love playing games. And then one day I was asking myself a question because you're holding a controller, a pad, and you are pressing some buttons and something is happening on the screen. I believe some of us can relate to what I'm saying, right? it just occurred to me suddenly that how did this thing come to be? How can you be pressing the plastic and some things are moving and you're pressing something, it is performing an action on the TV? And then it was like, okay. From there I started asking questions like, how did this come to be? How did this come to be? How did this come to be? And from asking questions, I met someone. Also, I have a friend like that back then. His elder brother was a programmer, right? But he was in school back then. We were still much younger, and he used to come home, right? Whenever they're on holiday, he would just be on his laptop all day. That's where he's going to eat. Or if he wants to pee or something, he just stands up. I used to like, bros, what are you doing? I just kept asking questions. What is this? What is this thing? From there I got to know that playing of games and all of that, it is a computer program. Games are programs. Whatever what you are pressing on a phone or a laptop or anything, they are programs. And those things were written by somebody or some group of people. And the world is using it. I'm like, okay. So it simply means that if I can be playing this game or be pressing this controller and then something is happening on the screen, simply, and then it's some group of people or it's somebody that created this thing, it means that I can also create something that someone else will use. That was where my eyes opened. I'm like, okay, I think I can do this thing. Then from asking questions, I was like, okay, so what do I need to study to be able to write a game or like to create a game so that I can play or some other people can play as well? I got to know that, okay, you study computer science, then when you go to computer science, this programming, this and that. I'm like, okay. Then we wrote JAMB and all of that, even though we failed JAMB like 3 years and we stayed along. But then it was still that same thing that I had in mind, that computer science, I must study it because I want to be able to create a game so that people can also play. That was just the idea, out of curiosity, as I started. Then, to go with the glory, we got admission into the school and then computer science came and then I was very excited, like, okay, this is computer science. But funnily or sadly, Nigerian schools. We know Nigerian schools can be now. You want to learn this, but they are not teaching you. 100 level, they haven't taught you. We haven't even written a single program 100 level. 200 level, no program. What's going on here? I know some of us can relate where what we want to learn or something, they don't get to teach us in school. Then I was like, okay, it's like I'll have to find my way about this thing. Then, so one thing, some of the things I'll be saying, right, I may be mentioning, or I will be mentioning my friend. I have one best friend like that. I know some of us know him. And then one thing I like to tell us is that whatever goal you have set, or move with people that are on the same mission as you. They will help your journey. They will help boost you. You guys will just be able to like move, on the same level and then the same pace. And one person may be faster than the other because we're not all the same. But then there's this danger that comes with it. When you're moving with people that, and moving people that are on the same mission as you. So then I was like, guy, they are not teaching us this thing though. What are we going to do? Then we challenge ourselves, right? Which is you can pick from making research. You can pick a computer program, start learning it by yourself. Read books, PDF, watch some little videos. Back then there was no even computer. We did not have a computer. I did not have a laptop. It was phones then. And so we have a way of installing some application on the phone that can write one or two things and can just do 1 + 1 = 2. But it's a computer program. So we challenged ourselves. We're reading books. He picked another programming language. I picked another one. And then, so we'll give ourselves the same task. You write it in this program, while I write it in this program, right? And then it was getting interesting. We're like, okay, we're doing this. Back then, maybe it's just 1 + 1 we're doing. But it looks like we are creating one kind of atomic bomb, So it was interesting then. But over time, there was no zeal probably because we didn't have a mentor, someone to just guide us, like, okay, this is how you go about it. Fortunately, we saw a flyer that learn programming in 3 months and get certified and then start earning 100K per month. It was like, wow, more, this thing I'm talking about is like 2016. Like, 100K lose like 1 million naira back then, if you know what I'm talking about. So I was like, okay, what are we going to do? The fee was back then was like 200K. We tried to smuggle ourselves to get discount and all of that because we just wanted to just know we need to learn this thing. We just raised the money anyhow, and then we started. And that was how the journey started, 2016. It was just going on and on. When you're learning something new and there's something you really have passion for, it's always different. Because even when you are being paid for it, even if you are not being paid for it, you still do it. Even if you are hungry, you still do it. I can tell you that today I've not eaten all day. I was working my laptop all day. It's because it is what I have been doing. It is what I like to do. It is what I've been doing over time. So I don't care whether you pay me or not. Even if you pay me less, I'll still do it because I want to do it. And then the more you do, the more your knowledge increases, the more you grow, and the more you learn on it, and then the more you just keep getting better, right? So the goal is to always get better at whatever you do. So it was going on and on and on and on, and then we were busy challenging ourselves. Okay, do this. So there was an instructor back then. I think that guy came from the US. He's a Nigerian. He studied abroad, and he has seen the market over there. Like, oh, this is a new thing going on here, but then it's not in Nigeria yet. Like, it's not so much Nigeria now. Okay, let us just raise some young guys that can start writing computer programs, and then they can do something tomorrow. That was that the guy came back to Nigeria, and then he just started the company, and then he just brought in boys, and we were all many, and then all of that. So we're just learning. Back then, it was a struggle for me because at least I know maths. I can do maths. But then, because you can do math does not mean that automatically you'll be a computer programmer, or you can, And then another thing I'd like to tell us is that like eating like almost 70% of the money, the better or the higher your chances to get more opportunities. Because first thing is people want to see what you've done, right? You can't be telling people that I'm a software engineer or I'm a designer, and then what have you done? And you're like, there's nothing to show off or to show forth. So that's one thing. So whether you are being paid, if you join tech newly, just keep at it. Whether you're being paid or not, just keep doing it. Keep gathering the portfolio. Keep working on stuff, and then the more you're working on stuff, the more your portfolio is increasing, and then the better your chances. You most likely get a gig first before someone who doesn't have a portfolio, because you've done something, you can show forth something, right? So kept on going like that, and I will just post my story for some while till probably to the end of this thing, because from that job that I was getting I was doing at Lekki back then, I met myself in Abuja. From there, service came, and then I found myself in Abuja, and the rest of the story will post till next time. So yeah, let's just show the slide, right? So it won't look as if I did not follow the slide. But then the thing is, the tech industry is a very massive industry, very massive, right? And one thing is, you cannot know everything. Right? The key thing is, make your research, know which one interests you, and then start. The goal is to do what? To start. Can we go to the next slide, please? All right. This is the beginning may be the toughest, but then just do it. Just start. It's just everything. Whether you are even learning any other skills that are not even tech related, beginning is always so tedious. You are always just struggling, but then just start with it. So we say here that make your research, determine your interest, ask enough questions, educate yourselves, and then get your tools ready. Right? The key thing here is interest. You're interested in this thing, then just go on with it. Just start with it. Just move on with it. Then every other thing will be added onto you. Let me use that phrase. Right. So go to the next slide, okay, which is finding your niche in tech. So about this, right? When I started as well, I'm someone that I have good eyes for colors, right? I have good eye for colors. So with that, I did not learn graphic design, but then I just found myself doing graphics designing, because one thing is, I like organization, right? I know how to organize things very well, and I'm very good with colors. So those two things helped me with my graphic design skills. So I started graphic design. Even while I was learning coding, because I am just naturally good at designing stuff. I started graphic design. So, but then it was going on and on, but at some point, I wasn't really comfortable with graphic design anymore. I wanted to know more. I wanted to learn more. Then I moved into something else, another aspect of design, right? So this says finding your niche in tech can be challenging, but there are some steps that can help, right? You do what? You identify your strengths and your interests. Because my original goal was to write or create a video game, and it has to do what? Writing the program. Even though I was doing graphic designing, right? I was still following what the initial goal I had in mind, which is programming, which is where I believe that I am going to really excel properly well, like very well, so which is like a niche, right? Which is you are doing this thing, and then you even in programming, right? You can tell us that you can't know all computer programs. You cannot know all computer programs. There are different things in even writing computer program, and you cannot do everything. So you have to like find the one that you think you are good at, you're better at, the ones that connect with you very well, and then you move on with it. And at the end of the day, you see the outcome. So research other different areas of tech as well. Seek out mentorship and advice. Experiment and learn. So when you start into tech, right, don't keep things to yourself. Always reach out. I know some of us are always on Twitter, getting the latest news that is going on in the world or in Nigeria. Someone is doing that, someone is doing this, But then people go to these platforms for different things, right? If you go to my Twitter, you most likely be seeing tech-related stuff. Because all these platforms, right, they have an algorithm that they use in giving you the things that you are interested in. If you're the one that is interested in some other things, right, which we won't like to mention, that's what it keeps feeding you. But then if you've picked your interest in some certain things that would increase your knowledge, that would, better you, right, that's what it keeps feeding you. Even is on Instagram, it's the same for all of these platforms. They have these things that they use, these algorithms that they've written to always just keep giving you what you want to see. They'll just keep giving you, just keep feeding you, right? Can we go to the next slide? So we have this different path in tech, code versus no code. This is where I like to shock some of us, right? Which is not everything is coding in the tech industry. All right, thank you. So I believe we can see the screen. Can we all see the screen? Or is it not visible enough? Visible. I'm not hearing us. Is it visible enough? Sorry, Thank you. All right. Not everything in tech is coding, which our daddy, you can imagine our daddy, our senior daddy, as old, as young as he is, he knows that not everything in tech is coding. So, this is tech industry, right? So, because I'm a programmer, I'm a software engineer, I like to talk more on coding and all of that. But then, it can be boring for some people. Some people just don't want to do it. They just hate seeing that nonsense that is on the screen that is just like alphabet and letters and all of that. Some people can't comprehend it. So we have different aspects. We have the blockchain engineer, we have the DevOps engineer, artificial stroke machine learning engineer, we have the web software engineer, we have the mobile app developer, we have the video game developer, which was originally this thing, but then now I've never even created a game. You can imagine. So because I deviated. So that's one thing about tech, which is as you are moving, you are exposed to other aspects of tech, and then you most likely see what interests you more. Even aside from what you initially started with, you will see something that interests you more, and then you just move into that aspect, right? So we have video game developer, we have data scientists, we have computer hardware engineer, you have software architect, network engineer. They're I can't really list everything. So these are just ones I just listed, right? So there are so many things. And then we have the no code. We have the graphics designer. We have the business analyst. We have the UI designer specialist. We have the UX specialist. We have the technical writer. So these are aspects of tech that you don't have to code, right? You don't have to code. You don't have to write all of that. But then you make good money. When I say good money, and I mean good money, right? Because the thing even is that whatever what you're learning, whether in tech or not, so long you are better at it, you are very good at it, people will pay you. You will see people that will pay you more. You see people that will pay you. I mean, we know some top designers, fashion designers. You know how much they sell their clothes. One Suraju that is in somewhere that will also the same thing, but then they will pay a designer more than Suraju, right? So that's just it about it. We have this other aspect. We have the marketing and sales. We have the project manager. We have the game website app tester, and that one is even actually one very interesting aspect. There are people that they are being paid to just play games. I don't know if we've heard of that before. I mean, we see all of these games that we are playing on our phone, PlayStation 5, all of that. After they are being created, they pay some special people. Help us play this game. Help us test this game. If you can find any faults there, let us know. Then we'll refactor it and then we'll make it better. The people that are like that, people that will test website, people that will test application, mobile apps, people that will just test. Their own is just to test. They are not the one building it. They are not the one marketing it. They just want to test. They just want to use it first before it's being shipped to the world, before it's being put on iOS store or App Store or Play Store. There are people that test these things before they are being released. Then we have the digital marketing, we have the tech recruiter, we have like many lists of these things, on the no-code part of tech. But then myself, right? I mean, I find myself, or I found myself in the category of a web software engineer. So what I do majorly is I create web applications, right? I mean, I have a lot of them that I've worked on. But then, like right now, I'm moving into like a blockchain engineer because the company I work with currently is a blockchain company. And I know some of us have been hearing blockchain. Anybody familiar with blockchain, head of blockchain or cryptocurrency and all of that? At least we know cryptocurrency if we don't know blockchain, right? So, but then they are kind of interrelated. So, can we go to the next slide? Next. Okay, opportunities and networking in tech, right? I mean, it's getting more interesting. So the thing is, once you've started in tech, right? You've seen, okay, this is what interests me. I think I would like this one. I mean, you just tend to, even from the names, I know some of you've seen some names there. You've picked one that I think this one, even the name is just sweet in your ear, and then like, let me just try out this one. So once you start, can I go to that slide? Okay, opportunity in tech. So once you start, you are a novice. You don't know anything. It's just like a child that is a baby that's trying to crawl and all of that. With the help of the parents, they just guide the child to just crawl. Then when they start walking, they keep holding down. They use this walker for them to just. That's just how it is when you're starting in something. When you just start learning something, that's how it is. You are struggling. You are trying to crawl. Then you want to move. You want to fly or you want to run. Meanwhile, you are still crawling. Then you move to just walking, taking little steps, and then to the point where you start walking properly, and then you can now run, then fly. It's just the same thing as learning anything at all, whether in tech or not in tech. And the other thing is you need to network. Networking simply means that you mingle with people that are on the same mission as you, right? I mean, the world is global now. I mean, it's digital now, where you can get into any group anywhere, maybe a WhatsApp group or Twitter community or Facebook circle or something like that. There are people out there that you can, and it's not hard. You can just enter into any group. The goal is just to ask questions. Don't like. I mean, there's people that they are full of pride. They don't want people to know that they are not that good, and then they just start posting. We have a number of them on Twitter like that. They are the one that knows everything. But then when you access them very well, they don't know anything. They are just making out because probably pride. They don't want to show themselves that they do not know, but they're just trying to just want to cover up. So the key thing is network, meet with people, right, that are on the same mission as you. People who are learning the same thing as you. People who are in tech. People who are mentors. You definitely see mentors online. there are platforms where you get mentors, right? I did not include that link in this, but then there are some links I included here. Even on Twitter alone, you can see mentors. You can see people that will teach you, people that are always, their page, their profile is filled with things that you can learn. They will even share links there to free resources. And then the good thing is that resources are free now, right? Like I said, YouTube is the best university you can ever attend now in this century we are in right now. YouTube is university. So which is, you can always learn things there for free. You see that data that you're burning to watch Instagram videos and TikTok videos? You can as well use it to learn something on YouTube, right? I know back then that we cannot even afford data then itself. I mean, we're students that are still struggling in school, and so what we used to do back then is there's this night plan that we used to do then. I think 100 naira for 2 gig. So and then it's between 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. These network people, they are very smart. They know that you won't be awake. They just collect 100 and they just go with it. But then we ensure that we stay all night. That 2 gig must finish. We'll watch that 100 and must not waste. And then it's an added advantage, right? Which is we can't afford data during the day, but we can afford during the night. So we have to use the night one. Maybe during the day, if we want to sleep, we can sleep and then do other things. But that part must not waste. But then some of us, we can subscribe 10 gigabytes and then just burn it on Instagram and TikTok and just watch some things that are not so necessary. But so what I'm trying to say is, don't be like a waster of resources, right? If you want to learn something, that same resource that you have that you are wasting, you can use it to learn something that would benefit you tomorrow, right? When I started, I didn't have like a clear picture of what it is going to be like, moving forward. I just wanted to start. I didn't even know that you can even earn like a $10,000 per month. If someone told me back then that you can earn $10,000 per month, it will look so unreal. Like, how would someone be earning $10,000 per month? Is that so real? But then these things are happening. These things are very real, right? So can we go to the slide, please? Let me just run through the slides. So, there are tips on networking and finding opportunities, right? Which is attend tech events. There are tons of tech events, even if they are not physical. There are ones that you can join online. That same data you use to watch TikTok and all of those things, right? You can use it to also join tech events online. Join online communities, tech-related groups. There are so many of them on Twitter, Facebook, even WhatsApp groups and all of that. Then use social media. Very particular about Twitter and LinkedIn here. LinkedIn. We know that. I know some of us knows LinkedIn. Or who doesn't know LinkedIn here? And on that LinkedIn, it can be very oppressive. You see someone that's like 20 years old, he has like PhD, 5 PhD and all of that. But then let this is not fool us, right? LinkedIn is just there for you to, it's a professional space. So you can't take that out. It is not like other platforms. It is for professional sake, right? Which is you get to meet people who are ahead of you in that same space you are, whether you're in the coding space or you are in the non-coding space. You meet people who are ahead of you, people who have gone far. You can connect with them. You can ask them questions. And one thing that is so interesting about the digital space now is, even on Twitter, I can tell you that if you message Elon Musk now, he will respond to you. Who doesn't believe that? Yeah? Some of us don't believe that. If you tweet at him, he will respond to you. You can DM anybody. If they have the time, they will respond to you. That's one thing, because social media has brought everybody together in the whole world together, where you can easily communicate with someone and then they would respond to you. If you need something, they will attend to you and then they will give it to you. So let's not be fooled that all of these things, that maybe Twitter, all of these things are just for fun's sake. No, people are getting gigs on Twitter. People are getting, So the good thing is, if you are in a community of like minds, and then there's an opportunity, they will just throw it open and then you can always apply. They will throw it inside the groups that you're in, you can always apply. They will just, or people who even know that, okay, this is what this guy does and then, or this lady does, they will just give it to you. I can tell us that the only job I know I applied online and then I got an interview and I was interviewed and I got the job was the last one I did in Lagos. Till now, from Lagos then till now, the jobs I've done or the projects I've gotten, I didn't apply for them. It is just by friends, people that we've been together, people that knows that this is what he does. People, they just know, this guy writes codes now, let's just give him this. Or your connect, your group that you guys are growing together, they can see an opportunity and they will just share with you. I tell you that the job I'm currently I'm at right now, it's a remote job, it's a company based in Norway, and I have a friend of mine. So the company where I work, where I interned after I left school, after I finished school. So I interned there, and then there was this guy that was there as well. His name is John. He's probably watching online right now. We were both interning together, and we're being paid together. I mean, 10K. I mean, after I left Lagos, came to Abuja, we were still in touch. We still kept the communication open. I didn't know that John had gotten an international gig because we don't talk that much, maybe because distance. But then an opportunity just came out from his company. They needed someone to fill this role. He just started me, guy, what's up? They're available. I'm like, waiting I did. Like, are you kidding me? This is a company based in Norway and they're paying in dollars. Guy, I just applied. He sent me the link. I applied and I got an interview. So they gave me a test. I got first interview. They gave me a test to do. Even the test, because that's like my major blockchain job. So I don't even know blockchain that much. I was coming from another world. Though in the software realm, but then it's another world. Blockchain is quite different from the regular software thing. The test, I had to get help to do with, like, this job must not go. I must get this job before. And to God be the glory. We got the job, and then we are earning dollars. Right there. So I mean, glory be to God, glory be to God. And but what I'm trying to point out is that friends, people you associate with, people who have your interest at heart. We know there's some friends that will not share politics with you, right? But then, if you are very open, because I think some friends will relate with you based on how you live with them. If you are the type that is open, you want to just share things with them, they will consider that and then also want to just bless you with something or just help you with something. I mean, you never can tell, right? Because, I mean, our dad used to say, blessings come from God through men to men, right? So that is it. You knowing them, learning them, and even though time now is quite, because there's a lot of things that we're handling, but then anyhow it is, right, we still like create time to learn those things, right? Create time to learn this. And then a lot of us have like time on our end. I know some of us even have laptops, but then we prefer to use to watch movies. And prefer to use to watch movies, right? And I mean, sometimes I used to just look at some people. I mean, wherever I get to, I just try to just share this. This is what I do, and then this is what I do. And I mean, if you're interested, I know I've mentored a lot of people. I've like driven some people into tech. People were not even interested, but because they just saw the zeal, I was just moving with. This is just the thing I'm doing. This is just the thing. This every time they're like, guy, what's up? Come and teach me this thing. And I'm not able to teach them like directly one-on-one because there's no time. But I will share them resources, share them links. Okay, this is what you can do. If you need anything or if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. And then gradually they started, and then they are moving up the ladder today, right? So which is a good thing. Can I get the slides? Let us just be fast on these slides. Slides. Okay, great. This says YouTube is the world best university right now. Or are we paying to watch YouTube? Is anybody paying to watch YouTube here? Maybe you are using a premium account. You will still pay and then you still use that data and then you pay your money and still watch nonsense. Can imagine. But then YouTube is free. You can learn absolutely everything. When I say everything, you can learn everything on YouTube. So the good thing is you've started, this is the area you want to move into, and then you're making research, you're reading books and all of that. And then you get into YouTube, you see people have dedicated their time, their money and resources to put out this content on YouTube. They spend a lot of money to shoot videos, to do this, and they still put it on there for free. But then, because some of us are not interested, we want to just watch things that are irrelevant, we will not watch it. So, YouTube is the best university as of right now. Can we go to the next slide? Next slide. Okay. The interesting part. Or is this not interesting? Or we're not interested in this? We can move on to other things. Sorry? Should dive into it. Okay, ways of making money in tech. All right. So I can tell us that you can be making money in multiple places at the same time, in different ways at the same time. Who believes that? Okay. The thing is, you see all of these things, right? We have the regular employment, we have the side gigs, we have the build a product, we have the consulting, we have the teaching, organized tutorials, we have freelancing, we have write books, many, many more, right? You have your 9-to-5 job. So, it can be easy for some people, it may not be easy for some people. For instance, myself, I work remotely. I basically work from home, and then I have time to do other things as well. And because it's an international company, they really don't stress people like Nigerian companies. For real. Example, sir. Example, that I have a Nigerian company I'm working with currently. Those guys want to stress like the hell out of my life, honestly. so I have an international job. I have one local job as well, but Nigerian companies, they will stress you. They will stress you. And but then let's not go into that. Let's not open their secret because so we have the regular employment, we have the side gigs, right? So while you have your 9-to-5 job, right, you can get side gigs as well. So let me take myself for example. Let me say I'm a web software engineer. I work 9-to-5 at a company, pay me X amount of dollars, and I'm working from home. At the same time, someone can reach out to me. I have a woman that she reached out to me yesterday that we need a website, an hotel management website. I've sent the quote to them, and they will pay the money. Right? So, amen. Thank you, Daddy. So I'm a regular employment, and I got the side gig. So you can get as many side gigs as. There are some people that their side gigs pays them more than their regular jobs. Who believes that? Right? Side gig can even pay more than your regular job. And then we have to build a product. So these things are like, regardless of any space you are in the tech field, right? You can always have a regular employment. You can have a side gig. Like for instance, you can be a graphic designer, right? You don't have to write code. You are just designing. And you have your regular employment. Someone can need a flyer here, a flyer there. They want to do this billboard. They want to do this. You just design for them. You are collecting your money, sharp in your pocket, right? And then we have the beauty pro. So this is like more like tailored to a software thing. But then it still doesn't matter. There are some no code. Because one thing is building a product or a software. It is not just for the software guys, the programmers. Building a product before WhatsApp or this other application, before they come to your Play Store or whatever, it takes different different departments or different fields in tech to come together to build WhatsApp, Facebook, any application at all. It's not just only the developer guys or the engineer guys. There are designers there. There are marketers. There are salespeople. There are project managers that they came together. It's a teamwork. One person cannot do everything. Like I mentioned earlier, one person can do everything. It's a teamwork where different people come together to do something. And then, so what I'm saying is that you have your regular employment. You're collecting side gigs. If you are a designer, or let's say like a product designer or UI UX designer, you can team up with guys that are engineers, you guys can build a product. It is different from your regular employment, and then it is different from the side gigs. You guys are building a product that will generate revenue. And what does that mean? I know some of us here know my company, my startup, and what product we're building. I mean, if the product is making money tomorrow, it still doesn't stop my monthly employment, right? I mean, someone is using my product. Let's take Jumia for example now. People who built Jumia, I won't say they're resting, but then they still kept on working on Jumia. But you can imagine how much they get per second. Even Jumia is small. Let's go to Facebook and these guys, the likes of these big guys that are raking in Amazon, they're raking in billions weekly or maybe daily, I don't know. So that's a product. So you can build a product, you can or be part of people who are building a product while you still have your regular employment. And then the product gets to the market and it's making money. You are still getting money from the product. You're getting money from your regular employment. You're still getting the side gigs. That's money. And then you have consulting, right? Someone knows that you are a marketing team lead or you are a salesperson. You know how to like just market stuff, right? They can call you to consult for them. You know, like, okay, we have this thing that we want to do. What is your input? And they will pay you a lot of money for it. And from these 4 things I've mentioned, is one disturbing one? Anybody? Is one like blocking the other from you making money? So we can, you can make money from all of these things at the same time. Then we have the teaching, organized tutorials, which is one of the things that I used to do because I love to teach. I love to teach what I know only. If I don't know something, you won't find me there, right? So I do have, mentored some people in software, even graphic design or UI UX design and all of that. They will pay you as well. I know some people here have paid me. Some people in this congregation that have paid me to teach them this thing, and I can look at their faces right now. So they'll pay you to teach them on this thing. So it works both ways, right? Someone is paying you, and then you are impacting on the person. The person is growing, and there's one saying that the more you teach something, the more you know it too. The more you get better at that thing. Because I know some things that I've known better by just teaching others. Like, okay, so this is how this thing even works. I didn't even know. But just by as you're teaching them, it's even sticking to your head, the better. Right? Then we have the freelancing where you go on Upwork and all of that on Fiverr. And then you have write books, right? The people who have written books on. If you are very grounded in a particular thing and you're just like, you're the type that writes, even though you are not the type that writes, but then you can share ideas. Someone who writes can help you to just come up with a book and then you can sell it. You can sell your books, right? And then many other ways you can use to make money in tech. So these things are really practical, right? So all of this is that you've seen in this slide so far. They're not things that I'm just saying from abstract. These things that I've gone through. I started with gone through and then I'm still even doing right now. So can we go to the next slide? Okay, we have where and how much to learn or how much you used to learn. I said salvation is free. But who is paying for salvation here? Tell me. How much did you pay for salvation? Anybody? Right. Salvation is free. We have the YouTube, we have the codecademy.com, we have the udemy.com, we have W3 schools. These are platforms that the key thing is dedicate time for this thing. It's as just simple as that. Good things don't come easy. It is very easy to watch Instagram. Sometimes so I get lost on Instagram. I want to do something. This platform they have a way of just retaining you on their platform. It is what I do, so I know how it is. They will just hold you down. Then before you know, you spend 2 hours or 3 hours on these things, and then and funny enough, right? You see these platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. The negative effect. Some people don't even realize it, right? I can tell you that maybe it's not the same for others, right? But for me, if I'm doing something right now and I get distracted into Instagram, maybe for like 2 hours, and I just snap out of it, before I can come back to my senses to continue what I'm doing, it will have to take me some time, because the platform had just done a lot of things in my head that for me to just get back to that thing I'm doing to take some time. So there are negative effects of this platform that some of us don't know, that we just need to just caution ourselves. Let me just put it that way, right? Caution ourselves. Me too, I'm even trying to caution myself. I'm doing something, I just want to check something real and information real quick. Before you know, something else interests me, and then from there you just move on to another thing. And there's one bad thing about these programs: they have infinite scroll. You are just scrolling. The scrolling never finishes. You just keep going. They have a reason for creating those things, because they want you to see. The thing is that the more you stay on their platform, the more money for them. The more you're scrolling, the time this platform, this big heavy software, right? Like Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, they make money per time that each user spends on the platform. I mean, if everybody stops going to Instagram, how do they want to make money? If nobody goes to Instagram again, how does Instagram want to make money? But then the time you are spending on Instagram, right, they keep making money. As you are clicking on this, even the Tunde Ono that you are watching, Tunde Ono is making money per views that you guys are. You see 1 million views on Tunde Ono, and you are busy laughing on that. Tunde Ono is making money. Instagram is making money. You are busy burning your data and your energy and your time for people that are using you to make money, right? So I mean, we can just use resources that we have, the time we have, the data we have, to just use to learn something from these platforms. We have the YouTube, we have the Codecademy, Udemy, W3 schools, and then next slide. All right, so I pulled up this thing because there's one. I don't know if it's like a mentality that I'm too old to learn. There's nothing that's too old to learn, especially in this tech space, right? I mean, we can read some people's story here on Twitter. I had to pull them from Twitter. This Mr. Adam Fred says, I've public interest lawyer for over 10 years, did an online bootcamp while continuing to work full time as a public interest lawyer, about to start my first job as a full-time software engineer at 41. I mean, is that not shocking? Imagine a 41 years old someone starting to learn how to write program. I know some of you will look at it as, sorry? Thank you very much. I mean, that's someone who is dedicated now. And in the next few months, you see Sister Mandy doing things, amazing things, right? I mean, at 41, someone gets a first full-time software engineer job. So nobody is too old to learn. I mean, they have another person after more than 15 years as a music teacher, learned to code. Well, at my 30s, at 40, I started working as an Android developer. Who has an idea of what an Android developer means? Right? I mean, you have your Android phone. The applications you have on the Android phone, the games, every application you download were built by some people, and they are called Android developer. They're iOS developers as well. So anything you use on your iOS device are built by some people, right? So, I mean, at 40, someone started working as an Android developer. He's even saying that he's older than his managers, which, I mean, it's obvious he's going to be older than his managers because young people are in this space, and then you are just coming as an OT. But then, it's nothing to be ashamed of, right? You know what you want. You know what you want to do. It can be tough. It can be hard because there are many responsibilities. There is, this and that. But then it is doable. Let me use the word, it's doable. Not someone else. Since I was a web designer at age 30, I just copied and pasted code. I was so scared about coding, but then at age 35, I took God to start coding. So this is someone that just copies and pastes. I know some of us are programmers here. We know how to do it. We know how to carry chips from other places and they just put in some and they just mix everything together. All right. So I took God to start coding. Now I'm 43 years old. I'm a front-end developer at a very important company I work, the multi-country team. Blah, blah. That's even a lady. That's the lady's picture. And then someone who said, I started learning to code at 30 after spending years as an opera singer. Can you imagine someone who has spent 30 years, spent years as an opera singer, voice teacher, bartender. 1 year after I first looked at code, I finished a 3-month internship and was hired full time. I couldn't be happier, right? I mean, like, I mean, there are like stories on these things where people were old. I've seen it. I just didn't find that screenshot. Someone would, I think 50 or 60 or so, got a first coding job. You can imagine. We know that the Oyinbo space is different from Nigeria space. I mean, like, someone who is 40 something and then wants to get like entry level. But if you are very good at what you do, forget those ones. If you are good at it. Question, okay. Yeah, so can we go to the next slide? You know, we don't have so much time. I mean, tech is something I can talk about from today to tomorrow. So I have this thing here. You can do it. Anybody can do it. Anybody can get into tech. So I mean, just few stuff, which is, you know, learn at your own pace. Do not be in a rush. Spend more time learning. Practicalize what you learn. I mean, you cannot just be watching videos from now to next year. You have to put it into practice. Anything you don't put into practice, you don't know, you can't know it. It won't stay in your head. Because the more you practicalize it, the more it becomes part of you. Then be humble and open to learn more. Be humble and then open to learn more. All right. So, is there another slide there? I think that's all. So we use remaining time to just ask questions.
Please, let's appreciate our speaker tonight. So we're open to questions. I believe that we should all have questions, and let's make the questions impactful tonight. So any questions?
Well done.
Thank you very much.
You know, it's interesting, hearing all this from you. So, I'm not a child.
Of course.
Yes.
It's glaring.
So, in all of this, where do I start from? I am interested in this. So,
Okay.
Where
do you start from?
So I guess what she's asking is next steps. And that's actually something I was going to ask.
Okay.
Like before we leave, we want to know next steps. That when we leave here, what do we do? Maybe next 3 to 4 steps.
Okay, cool. So I believe this question will help everybody, right? Are we one house, please? All right. So what's the next step? Like I said, so I listed a number of fields in tech, right? We have the no code and then the code. If you're interested in code, I mean, I'm very much here to help you out if you want to code. Also, Mandy wants to code. Wow, interesting. You want to code as well? I know.
How about what certifications should people go for if they want to code?
Okay, so
What
here's the thing. This is what I want us to know. Even if you do not, or you did not go to a university, you can be a badass coder.
So how do we do this?
How do we do it? There's YouTube.
So go to
Code Academy,
YouTube. What
okay.
links on YouTube?
Okay, so
People get ready to write.
So you can search. Okay, here's the thing. The first thing is, right, pick what you are interested in first. Know what you are interested in. Right? Even though you don't know what it is, right? So from the things that I've mentioned, you can Google about these things. What is a blockchain? Who is a blockchain engineer? What is blockchain? Google will tell you this is blockchain, this is okay, so how do I become a blockchain engineer? They will tell you things. Then from those things that they tell you that, okay, to be a blockchain engineer, you have to learn Solidity, which is a programming language for blockchain. You have to learn this and that. Then you can see that the information it is expanding gradually. The first question is, how do I become a blockchain engineer, or what is blockchain and this and that? And then from there, what do I need to learn to become a blockchain engineer? Then Google gives you that information. Then you pick that thing that Google gives you that you can learn. Then you take it to YouTube. Search about, okay, Google gives you an answer, which is Solidity. It's a programming language called Solidity. It's for blockchain. Then you go to YouTube. Tutorials for beginners on Solidity. And that's how your journey can start.
Are you writing down? Because someone just looking, are you memorizing this thing? Write it down. You need to.
I mean, you need to, right? So it's a step-by-step thing. So the thing is, curiosity. You just want to know. Google is there for you for free. Google is waiting for you to ask questions. And then we have this ChatGPT now.
I was going to say that. Go to Chat. Don't wait. Listen first. Listen first.
Wait.
Go to ChatGPT. And Note these words. As my mentor, what do you say I do? Then you put it there. Always start with as my mentor. ChatGPT starts to put itself as your mentor and starts to really train you and give you what you want. It's a prompt.
Yeah.
As my mentor. Do you understand this? Because what you get out of ChatGPT depends on the prompts you put in.
Yeah.
But it will break it down for you step by step. Ask for the links to tell you everything. Did you know that? Yes.
ChatGPT.
Go to www.chatgpt and then it takes you there, and then you sign in.
Just Google ChatGPT. The first link you see there.
Yeah, chat. CHAT. GPT. It will amaze you. It will do your homework for you. It will give you. It will construct everything. It will write your everything for you. It will write code for you.
Daddy, you want to make these people lazy. So I mean, people should actually make efforts first before they,
Okay, I didn't tell you this. Wipe it off your minds.
I mean, you should just take that effort to know things before, because the ChatGPT is an AI program, right? And we, at least some of us know what artificial intelligence means. If some of us don't,
and there's ChatGPT 4, and it's out, and it's sharp.
Of course. So
You're looking at me.
that is very correct. That most of us. The day was telling me about prompt engineering, I was like, what is prompt engineering? I mean, it was all made me know what prompt engineering is. And it's very interesting, which is information is key. You just have to just keep searching for knowledge, right? I don't know, man, if that answers your question. But then one thing that is key is that you need 3 major tools. You need a laptop, you need internet, which all of us have internet. I don't want to believe some people don't have internet. And then you need power supply. And it's practically power supply.
I guess what? In this space, we have power all the time. And there's lights and there's AC all the time. In church.
All right.
So it's a good place to hang.
So does that answer the question, Mandy? Other questions? Okay. If you don't have a
Then
laptop,
you pray
Daddy, wait.
in church.
Even if you pray, right? You have a phone, you can as well sell your phone and buy a laptop.
That's a good point. Sell your phone, buy a laptop.
So the good thing is that you
can sell your
human-
boom stage here or your Brazilian here.
Exactly, right. Because let me tell you the truth, right? The laptop will buy you these things and many more. There are questions as well there, right?
Good evening, everyone.
Okay, just after.
Good evening, everyone.
All right, good evening,
So my
sir.
question is that for some people who do not know how to operate computer at all,
Okay.
because
Okay.
me too, I do this code and I design, my UI
Alright.
design. So my question is that how long will it take them to learn this thing, to learn the basic operations of computer,
Okay.
down to coding, and then to monetize it? How
Okay.
long will it take?
All right, awesome. Very good question. So I know that some of us back then, after maybe JSS3, we went to computer training school where they would just teach you Microsoft Word and all these small things. And those, we know that those trainings did not last more than 3 months back then, or maybe 6 months, or 3 months. So this thing is that this is one key thing. The more you spend time on something, the better you get to know it. Someone who is spending 6 hours a day on a particular thing will get to know it better and faster than someone who is spending just 30 minutes. You just glance through 30 minutes and then TikTok takes you away, and then you just got distracted, and then you just. So the key thing is desktop publishing, or what they used to call it back then, where you just learn the basic things, how to just operate a computer. The computer is not so hard to operate. I can practically tell us, it's not so hard to operate. It is garbage in, garbage. What you press is what you give it is what you get, right? So the basic things about computer is knowing what to. There's even this search bar on computer. If there's something you want to do and then you can't even remember it, you can search. The computer will give you the result and then you click on it. So it is not really so more than click on something, it gives you a response. If it's not the response you want, go back, click on something else, give you a response, and then so the more you spend time on it, right? Which is like I said, YouTube is your best teacher. YouTube is the best university. You can go on YouTube how to operate a computer. You will definitely see videos there. They will teach you, watch the videos, and then you practicalize. Watch videos, practicalize. The videos are there for free, just that it's just your data you run. the same data you burn on something else, you can burn it on YouTube to learn how to operate a computer. And once you know how to operate a computer, then you can go into the coding thing that you mentioned, and then you find your way up the ladder. Does that answer your question, sir? All right. So this is my Oga here. My Oga wants to ask this question. Microphone, please. Wait. I mean, he has been raising up his hand.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir.
This is my question.
All right, sir.
As a newbie tech,
Okay.
what was the minimum specification of laptop?
Okay.
I believe you can just get a in-house laptop.
Of course. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So I will say a brief story, right? I know that. So I mean, when I was talking the other time, like I didn't have a laptop or something. But then the good thing is, I had one opportunity. My dad owns a laptop, but then he couldn't operate it because of maybe eyes issue, and then he's getting older and all that. It was like, young man, I think you are very young. Your eyes is sharper. It's just because of the eyes. I know if his eyes was very good, my dad would not give it to me. So I mean, it was like, your eyes is sharper. You can operate this thing. And then that was my saving grace, and that is how that was not there, I mean, how would I eventually raise money to get a laptop back then, right? So depending on what you want to do. So if it's coding you want to do, right, you don't even need heavy something, right? If you have a laptop like 4 GB and like what's it called, hard drive of like 120 gigabytes or i3 4 GB or 8 GB, depending on how much you have. Just because coding doesn't require everything. What you need for coding is just a software. You can even write coding on your notepad. People who write programs there know what I'm talking about. You can write on a notepad and you can run it on your notepad without even the software for like writing coding itself. Right? You know your notepad, or even Microsoft Word, you can write it there and then just save it as something. So, but then today's not practical class. But for coding, you don't need so much. So it's people who are doing like video editing or these animations and graphics. They're the ones that need heavy softwares that light computers will not be able to carry.
And he said he's a newbie. So if all you're doing is watching YouTube videos, any laptop will do that for you.
Of course.
Even your phone will do that for you.
Of course.
So as a newbie, I mean, that's where you want to go learn something. So you don't actually need anything that's heavy, that needs any amount of RAM to do work with.
Yes. So I know like below 100K, you can get a laptop that will serve you to learn programming or some of the tech stuff that does not require those heavy duty softwares. So does that answer your question? Thank you very much. Dolapo, and okay, I have like 2 more earns there.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Dolapo.
How are you all doing today?
Doing fine today.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Sam. It's been an time here. So I have my questions are in 2 categories, right?
Okay.
So I know that with the advent, if that's the right word, of tech, a lot of people have dabbled into the industry without having any background knowledge or background information of what they're going into, and then a lot of people have gone into the said industry at the same time due to peer pressure or the fact that people are talking about it, and then they feel like they should be in that space as well. So for that question, so my question for this first analysis is that how would you advise young people to carefully tread while choosing their careers, especially when their motive for going into that industry is based on making money, following peers, and then just following the rave? That's my first question, sir.
Okay, first question. Thank you very much. This question is very heavy. Dolapo always asks heavy questions. It's like she's been thinking about it for like months. All right. So here's the thing, right? Regardless, like I said, right, there is always a starting point. For some people, it is passion. Some people it's out of curiosity, right? For some people, it is money, right? So the thing is, regardless of whatever what was your motive you're starting with, just ensure that you just keep doing it. So the thing about tech, or let me just say coding or whatever, there are people, I mean, there's a screenshot I saw where someone asked on Twitter, so what made you join tech? Is it money or passion? So the guy responded that he has passion for money. You know, I mean, he has passion for money. That's why he joined tech. So I mean, so it can either be passion, it can be money, but just ensure that whatever it is, don't just keep doing it. That's the main goal. Just keep doing it, and then the more you're doing it, even when you start, you may not make that money that you are wanting, because it is very very from different people. Some people may have money already. They don't have problems with maybe food or electricity. They don't have problem with internet. All those things are available for them. For that kind of person, it will be very easy for them to just keep learning because there's nothing distracting them. You know, unlike people like me, when I started, we have to also for what we eat ourselves. We have to go back to the hostel. We have power problems. We just want to find somewhere to charge our laptop. So there's so many things that was hindering our learning back then. But then while we're learning, we have other guys that money is not their problem, and they have money. Their parents have money. They have good laptop. They have all these things. They have internet in their house. So not like us that we have to subscribe 100 naira for 2 gig at night. So they have these things available for them. But so however it may be, even if you don't have so much money, but then or you're struggling, but then you want to join because of money, just ensure you stay on that path. You stay on that path you've chosen, because the more you learn, the more you get better at it. The more you just get better at it, and the more your value increases. And then you, at the end of the day, you see that the money that was the initial, you definitely the money is there, waiting for you. The goal is for you to get better, so you can be able to get that kind of money you're looking for. There is a certain money I'm looking for now in tech that I'm trying to get better at, so I can get that kind of money, right? So does that answer the question?
All right, thank you. Very well said. And the second part is based on the teaching that we are undergoing presently in church right now, and concerning who we are, finding our purpose, finding who we are, and knowing what our purpose here on earth is, basically. So now, I think this is more of a comment than a question. In one thing I've realized in the past few days or past 2 weeks of this teaching is that there is no limitation, so to say, to who you can be, in as much as you open your mind, and I think that is one of the few things that tech has given to us. So you can, for some of us, we have chosen a line of career. We have probably found our purpose, and we have identified some things that we love to do, and we are finding fulfillment in them. And then what I want us to realize in that aspect is tech is connected to everything. So you don't necessarily have to leave the career that you have right now, the purpose that you found, and then say because they have said that tech is what is good, and then follow it. But then you can find the link and then create an equilibrium, a place where you can strike a balance for you to operate on a purposeful level, so to say. So if you're in, let's say you're a marketer by profession, right? In the tech industry, there is digital marketing, there is social media marketing. There are ways where you can leverage on both platforms and be able to gain from both worlds. So I mean, I'm just saying that don't be on the right path and then think that because they have said this thing, I should abandon this path to follow this path. There can always be a leverage. There can, yeah, basically.
Of course, yes, of course. So I mean, a round of applause for Dolapo. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking it was a question, but then it was now leading to something else, which is actually very good, right? Regardless of whatever part you are. So there's one thing, right? Let me take someone who is a fashion designer, for example, or a tailor. You are a tailor, but then you're thinking, how can you get into tech? Or what do you do? Do we know that as a tailor, right? We know that we have these things that we there's a pattern that you just see and then you want to copy, replicate. You can actually go into one aspect of tech that will enhance your tailoring, which is your fashion design. Thank you very much. I mean, we have design in tech, right? Even a fashion designer is a designer, right? And I have someone that I used to tell that the tailor that you can also join tech, but then your even before you sew some clothes, right? You can be there's this a 3D model designer where you can design your clothes first. People will pay for that design to see it before you even make it. I mean, it is tech. I mean, you are a designer. You are like this is not graphic design. This is another branch of design in tech, right? Which is like a 3D designer or model. So you can design something. You can design this how this clothes is going to look like. That is not. I mean, we have all of these top designers, fashion designers. We can see what they are rolling out. So it is not like they just get it from somewhere. There is a designer. See, for everything we can see around us, right? Everything that God did not create, that was man-made, was designed first. Was designed. Anything at all. These chairs that we're sitting on, this thing, this AC, this TV, everything, your phones, cars, everything that is man-made was designed by someone first. Someone has the idea. Can we have this thing? But then it is not really clear. But then there is a designer that just puts that idea into something visual. It may be a sketch, it may be just with something, but then put into visual, and then from there it gets to production. So for every nature we can see, there is always a design first. So which still brings to the fashion thing, right? Which is a tailor can also learn 3D modeling or 3D design, designs the patterns of their clothes first. That this is it. Even though you have the idea, even though you do not have that time, you can get someone to do it, and then just to brand yourself up, and then just be better at your fashion designing stuff. So does that answer the question? All right. Any more questions from?
I think we'll take one more and then we'll
one
close.
more question. Okay. You have a question? Okay. Mr. Dami wants to quickly add.
Okay. I just wanted to say something to correlate to what you said about if you are a fashion designer that you can actually leverage on 3D modeling. I have a friend. About 8 years ago, we used to be painters together, drawing physical drawings. Passionate about that. So his wife was a fashion designer. So he wanted to leverage tech at that time. So he went back to Lagos. He's a good painter. He draws on the wall. And after a year, he came back drawing clothes. Now they pay him a lot of money to draw of clothes. So fashion houses will pay you to draw their clothes right now. They don't just go to the tailor shop right now and just design and just begin to sew. They have to have a pattern, a particular drawings, a particular pattern before they now begin to sew. So one of those designs can be as much as $1,000 right now if you know what you are doing. So there's lots of opportunities in leveraging tech, just like Glako has said. Praise God.
From Mr. Jonathan. Can you get my please? Question. All right. Sure. We can hear you.
Good evening, everyone.
Make your questions very fast. We'll take as many questions as we can, but really, really fast.
Okay. Yes. Good evening, everyone.
Yes, sir.
My question is for people dabbling into web development.
Okay.
What is your preferred front-end framework for them? That's one. And the second one is, what do you think about like deep learning with front-end engineering?
Okay.
How do you see that space?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So I know some of us may not understand what is. Okay. That's like a high-level thing. I mean, we understand. But then, so what he's trying to ask is, as a web developer, right? What framework do you dabble into, right? So the key thing is, there are different frameworks. For front-end now, we have the Vue, we have the React, we have the Angular, we have the even Vue has a framework now, which is Next. React has a framework, which is Next. Angular too, I've forgotten the framework. So, see, anyone you go into, right, there is a job market for it, right? There's a job market for it. For me, I'm a front-end engineer, like you mentioned, but then I do React because I find it easy. Not like it's easy, but because it is purely JavaScript stuff, and then so I dabble that into that more. But then some people prefer Vue, but just by default. Some people just like by default. I just like after seeing the syntaxes and codes and all of that, I just like that. I just go with it. But then there's market for every of the frameworks, right? And the other question is connecting deep learning with front-end engineering, right? So that has to do with a lot of things, right? Has to do with so here's the thing, right? It's just like the way we have the regular software. We have the we have the front end, we have the HTML, and then we have the PHP, which is backend. Now, when it comes to blockchain, we have the people who write the Solidity, and then we have but then they still connect to each other. So it's the same thing for machine learning as well. There is always a connection point for whatever, either machine learning or this thing. We different. There's always a connection point, and I do not believe that it is impossible, right? Let's just take ChatGPT for example. Now, it is an AI or a machine learning whatever thing that learns from. As we are asking the question, it is learning from the questions we're asking it for it to get better. So there's a way that's been connected to each other, and that we really cannot like dive into tonight. Maybe.
Of course, we're going to have to you come back again, because obviously there's so many questions that haven't been answered. But let the questions be really sharp, answers really sharp.
Right.
But we have to shut down in the next 3 minutes.
Any other question? Okay.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, maybe after going through hours of courses and YouTube,
Okay.
and then with coding tutorials and project, at what point you now bet yourself, okay, I'm good enough to start doing job applications or start applying for jobs?
All right. Awesome. So, very good question. Excellent question. The first thing is you've learned, right? You've been doing stuff. So the thing is, you've been learning, and then another thing is you've been practicalizing by building stuff. Whether you're building personal projects or you're building something for someone that did not even pay you. Because I remember back then, the first job I got as a web developer was from my pastor when I was in Lagos, right? He just said, because we've been telling me, sir, we know how to code, we write code, this and that. So the first I was like, okay, let me build this website. Because we wanted to do something, we wanted to show ourselves that we know this thing. Then we built it, and it was excellent, it was perfect, and he loved it. And that was the first point. Then from there, people just started recommending us to people, right? So once you've learned, you keep learning, and then you're practicalizing. You're practicalizing, right? Then there's this thing that is very common, which is there's this word where you feel you're not good enough. There's this term. Inferiority complex, right? Where you just imposter syndrome. Thank you very much. I know I struggle with that thing a lot, like, because I'm not even the type that mingles with a lot of people and all that. I just prefer to be in my shell, and whenever there's something, I just feel I can't do it. But then once I just jump into it, the thing just gets to like unravel, right? Even where I work, right, they give me tasks that I do not know, but because I am into it, I just start it, and then so if you've learned and then you've practicalized, and networking really helps. So like I said, most of the jobs that you get, IPA that you get, are not the jobs that you apply for. It is from friends, from people you know, people that know what you do, and then they've seen the things you've done, the personal projects you've done, how beautiful it is, this and that, and then how you're confident about this is what I do. Then you most likely you definitely get these gigs or these jobs that you've been, aiming at. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Odidi, chief.
One last question.
Praise God.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm actually a business developer and business creator, right? And I have ideas. I mean, I don't want to learn coding or all of that. Though, yes, I do websites and all of that. But I want to do a business, and I have an idea of a software that I want to do, or I want to sell it to the government or sell to any big organization, right? So I want to. How open are you or your company to partner with me for free? When I say for free, I don't mean. I mean, like when I say for free, for example, I have an idea that will generate 100 naira per person for 5 million people.
Those are good numbers.
Yeah, so I mean, it's so you can imagine, and I don't have the resources to pay you. For example, the software costs 20 million or 50 million. I don't have the resources to pay you for now. Are you open to doing that business, like a partnership? And what do you feel will be our sharing formula? I know it's a private question, but it's direct, and I know why I'm asking him right now.
I can structure the deal for you guys in private.
I know that was very personal. but then, yeah, of course. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Myself, so here's the thing. I am an engineer, software engineer, but a front-end engineer, right? So to come up with a software, to build a robust software, it is not a one-man's job. It takes like a minimum of like 4 people, right? Minimum of 4 people to come up with it. Even 5 self, right? Because you have to hire a designer, you even may hire a project manager, you know, and front-end engineer and all of that. Depends. And then depending on the timeline, right? So determine how many people work on it, right? And then that will determine even the price. But then because there is no money on ground, right? It's just based on how we can come to terms. Because for me, right, I can do work without getting paid because it's what I love to. But then gathering people are dealing with a lot of things. Me, I may not need the money now, but then because I have the goal of, you know, it is a partnership, and then there's an equity or there is a percentage that. So it's something that we can discuss on, even if it's to find something for the other people that will gather where they know they are getting something. But then the major thing is, at least as the person who is gathering them, which is me, we can strike a deal, and then we can okay, this is it, and then which is like legally written. Barrister is there, barrister Ima is there, you know.
You know, in Shining Light, it's a complete package. We have lawyers in the house, we have designers in the house, we have accountants. So we did all of you. But what I hear you say is that this deal, when you put it together, is not the only other participant that you need. There are other participants that are not here that he cannot tell you what their requirements will be. Yeah. So at this point, he cannot give you the answer, but he can obviously go forward, work with you, and put the package together. But it's not something that both of you alone can do. Now let's us please just, if you can, please let's get on our feet and thank and just clap and give this young man an amazing. Is that the best we can do? Is that the best we can do, people? Is that the best we can do? Fantastic. Thank you very much. We were definitely blessed tonight. In fact, we didn't get enough. I think we should make a plan to have more in the near future. Okay? So thank you very much. God bless you. God bless you. I hope that we all heard something tonight. And please, you may be seated. This is Shining Light Kingdom Builders Church. Every Thursday, we're here for something we call Advance. There's something that we know, but you may not know if you were new here, is the process. The process, because there are some questions here that were asked, but the people that asked them are not regulars in this house. Because if you were, you would know the answers. Like, for example, what's the next step? You develop your gift. What's the next step? You practice your gift. This is something that we teach. We've taught in this house so many times, and he gave those answers so eloquently. You practice what you have, and in your practice, other people get to see what you have. Other people get to experience what you have. You get better while you're practicing. So from your practice, you get to a point where there's a demand put on what you're doing, and that's when you monetize. Do you just understand that? So tonight you heard some things. Go to YouTube, like he said. It's out there. Get the information, do the work, love what you do, put in the time, be a good user of your time. You know, that's one thing. We only have 24 hours a day, every day, everybody. But depending on how we use it, our results are different. So if you want good results, you use your time effectively. And you know, it's as simple as that. Once you walk in your destiny, you are moving forward into the life that God created you to live. Am I talking to anybody? Were you blessed tonight?